Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Monday, June 3. In Squiz Kids Today, rocket lands on far side of the moon. America's spelling bee champ. Aussie demon on French Open roll and X-ray cookies. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
China took one giant leap towards putting an astronaut on the moon yesterday morning when it landed a rocket ship on the far side of the lunar satellite. The Chang'e 6 rocket touched down on the south pole of the moon, marking only the second time a country has successfully landed a spacecraft on the far side of the moon. Now that it's there, it will send out a rover to collect samples of moon dirt and moon rock, which will be plonked into a small rocket, lift off from the moon, connect with a larger spacecraft that is currently spinning around above the moon, and that will then return to Earth to give the moon dust and the moon rock to scientists down here to examine. And look, while all of that might sound simple enough, it involves the sort of maths and engineering cleverness that if you look at closely enough, will blow your mind. China is hoping this mission will help it achieve its goal of putting astronauts on the moon within the next 6 years. Back here on Earth, and instead of looking to the stars, Aussie kids are spending more time looking at screens than kids in most other countries. An international study has found that an average of 4 hours a day is spent on technology by Aussie kids, and that they are world leaders in screen time. And that's not necessarily a good thing, my friends, with the study finding that kids who spend more than an hour a day on social media or browsing the internet score up to 20 points lower in maths than those who don't. Just saying.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in the United States, where a 12-year-old from Florida has been crowned the country's new spelling bee champion. Bruhat Soma correctly spelled a staggering 29 words in a 90-second speed spell-off, beating his competitor who could only manage 20 correctly spelled words in 90 seconds. And they weren't just any old words that Bruhat spelled. It's not like he was asked to spell cat, mat, or hat. Words that Bruhat was asked to spell included hortophony, nakslaj, and pusta. And look, I can't even pronounce them, let alone tell you what they mean. Bruhat said afterwards he practiced every day with his dad, searching for and spelling the most obscure words they could find. And for any of you out there thinking, oh, come on, that's not a real sport, Bruhat's having the last laugh, having walked away with $75,000 in prize money for his efforts. Not bad at all.
Sport time!
Aussie tennis player Alex de Minaur played the game of his life in Paris yesterday, lifted to victory in an 8-hour duel by a kid in the crowd who just wouldn't let him quit. Managing to crawl back from behind to beat his opponent, the big-hitting German Jan-Lennard Struff, Alex told reporters after his game that a young kid who was courtside, sitting in the cold and the rain and cheering him on, gave him the motivation to just keep fighting. And now, Alex has launched a search on Instagram to get the Lucky Charm kid back to watch his match tonight against world number 5 Daniil Medvedev. Come on, Demon, you can do this. And I've stuck a link to video of the Demon's biggest fan in today's episode notes. He's one passionate kid.
Food, glorious food.
Makers of the world's favourite biscuits have turned to science to create the perfect crunch, as X-ray cookies become totally a thing in Britain. The Cadbury chocolate people have started working with scientists in England to create an oven with X-ray technology, so that they can study how a cookie bakes and what ingredients are required to create the perfect crunch. The X-ray oven takes a snapshot of the inside of cookies as they bake, and that data will be analysed by food scientists to create the ultimate bicky. I mean, I know scientific research is happening all over the world right now for all sorts of important things, but can we just pause for a moment and reflect on the contribution that X-ray cooking technology will make to overall human happiness? Or is that just me?
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What's the name given to a competition for spelling? Yeah, that's right, it's called a spelling bee. Question number 2. Which country has just landed a spacecraft on the south pole of the moon? Well done if you said China. Question number 3. Name the Aussie men's tennis player who's through to the last 16 at the French Open. Yeah, well done if you said Alex de Minaur.
Shout-outs.
It's June 3. Today is Mabo Day, celebrating the life of a remarkable Aussie called Eddie Mabo, who played an incredibly important role in a court case that overturned a law that said before white settlers arrived, Australia didn't belong to anyone. And that paved the way for what's now called native title. I've stuck a link to info about Mabo Day in today's episode notes. It's also a special day for these Squiz kids celebrating a birthday today and tomorrow. Clara from Woongarra, Emmanuel from Everton Park, Rohan from Bulleen, Chloe from Eltham, Elliot from Flemington, Tyler from Atwell, Ivan from Castle Hill, Arlo from Fanny Bay, Derva from Rochdale, Emma from Forest Lake, Violet from Glenmore Park, Alex from Coombaba, Estrella from Strathfield, Abigail from Dolan Bay, Avery from North Ainslie, Walter, who's listening over there in Matakana, New Zealand, and Violet, who's listening all the way over there in Bogota in Colombia. And belated birthday shout-outs go to Lucia from Hurstville, Jordan and Hazel from East Ulverston, Colin from Carwoola, Kareem from Newcastle, Yo-Yo from Lindfield, Maddie from Toongabbie, Adeline from Perth and Quinn from Eltham North. And today's classroom shout-outs go to Class 5-6GR and Miss Richardson at Buninyong Primary School, Class 3W with Miss Richards at Brighton Grammar School, Class 6C at Holy Rosary Catholic Primary School in Perth, Class C1 with Mrs Wallace and Mrs Chidlow at Excelsior Primary School, Class 5B with Ms Seeley at Roxburgh Park Primary School, and Class ALC4 with Mr Wilson at North Lakes High School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow with a special Squiz the World episode on the world's oldest country. Can you guess what that is? It's a teeny tiny country most of the world has never heard of called San Marino. You won't want to miss that. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.